In this video, we want to look at the knife tool. That's another technique that's good to have. You're going to find it in your Tools panel underneath the eraser tool. Now, this is not to be confused with the Slice tool, which is used to divide artwork into separate web images, but rather we're looking at the knife tool. First, I want to show you the most direct and basic way to use it, and that is on this little tree that I have. It's a simple outline of a tree, but if I decide to fill it with color, I am going to get the whole thing one color. I can't do the top a different color and the trunk a different color. I need to separate these two. So to do that, we can go to our trusty little knife tool. And one thing that you need to remember about the knife tool is that you must go all the way through the outline, through the stroke, to make sure that it divides it. So you really need to start outside dragging, go through and come outside just to make sure that you have these two separate. Now I should be able to move those apart. And more importantly, I can put a different color into the bottom of this. And that's just an easy way to divide something in half. Next, we're going to play around with this rectangle. I have two different layers. One is the background with the radial gradient in it, and the top one, which I have locked. Here's my mirror. And I have the frame locked so that when I use the knife tool on it, it will only affect the inside. And the frame is a stroke that I've used a border on, and I've gotten a border in the frames. And it's just right here at the top, this tri-bevel that I've used on it. And depending on how wide I make my stroke, that'll be how thick this is. Now, the background is what I really want to turn our interest in with the knife, and that is to slice through this as if it's shattered. Now, something interesting happens when we cut across it, and that is the bevel starts to divide, kind of almost like a cell or something that's dividing out, but we can actually go in and come straight back out and make little shards. And just a side note, if you want to go straight in any direction, you can hold your Alt key and just click and start dragging, and whichever way you go, it'll be a straight line. We want a few more kind of pointy shards out of this, and with the radial gradient, it kind of gives it a little bit of a mirrored effect. If we release that, we can just pull a few of these shards out and could have like a shattered broken glass effect and have it exploding out a little bit. That's just kind of a neat trick if you want to get that broken glass effect. Now next we have a little briefcase, and we might want to decorate it freeform. We can start to just go through it, and maybe we want to make it a zebra look. We could do that by just dragging in and out of it. Now you need to be careful that you're going past the border so that it's cut in there well, but you can quickly freehand some zebra shape to this. And then of course we can just go in, holding my shift key, I'm going to select all the pieces that I want to be black. And there you go, a really quick and easy way to do a zebra print. And just as examples, here are a couple of other options where I've taken and drawn in shapes and put some gradients in. I've used the Alt key to hold this and make it straight to get some crisscrosses, and even use some patterns in your swatches. In the libraries you have patterns and you have your gradients that you can go to and get a lot of different options for filling in the shapes once you have them. Last, I want to show a fun little trick to use the knife tool. We need to select this as just a white box with a black outline, and running our knife through it, we can make a landscape really easily. And releasing that, and let's put some green. Pull that off. We'll do different shades of green here. And then in the background, we can go back to the gradients, and there is a category for sky. Now there's quite a few different choices. We can go through those. I'm looking for one that has some blue and some yellow, and I think that that's the one I want. Here's another one, but I believe Sky 16 is the one that I want. And I want to change it so that it looks like the sun is just coming up with the blue sky in the background. And to do that, I'm going to my gradient panel, open that up, and instead of linear, I want radial. That's pretty good, except that I really want this to be down on the skyline. So to do that, if I go to my tools panel, I get this directional gradient tool, and I can start and drag any way that I want to. If I wanted it to be up in the corner, this corner, but I want it to be down on the skyline. And you can actually change some of the settings here to affect the way that the gradient lays. But this is just, and be sure and just click off onto your white or black arrow. This is just kind of a fun way to make a quick little landscape using the knife tool. And if you wanted just a little bit more, you can draw you a couple of little birds in the sky, and they'll just show up as a black outline because of the black stroke. There you have it, several different ways to use the knife tool.